Neon streets, they glow tonight. Questions buzzing in the light. Cheyonne's got answers cool and clear. Traffic truths you'll wanna hear. Ask a traffic cop after dark, lighting up your mind like a spark. Rules of the road with a chill vibe, cruising knowledge on this late night ride. Brake lights flash under the moon. Sean's wisdom cuts through the gloom. Relaxed and fun with a steady tone. He makes the road feel like home. Ask a traffic cop after dark, lighting up your mind like a spark. Rules of the road with a chill vibe, cruising knowledge on this late night ride. From stop signs to speeding tails.
Hey, everybody, it's time for Ask a Traffic Cop After Dark. I've been waiting all day for it. I don't know about you, but this is something I look forward to every single week, and I'm here. So let's get it going. What is happening in your world? I want to know what's happening, and I want to know what kind of questions you got, because I am here to answer your traffic and police questions. My name is Sean Shapiro. I am a former police officer. I used to work for the Toronto Police Service. Almost a year ago, I left, and now I've got a not-for-profit. It's called the Canadian Organization for Better Traffic Safety and Education. And as part of that, I do this. It's awesome. I love it. It's actually a lot of fun. And I'm glad that I can still participate and contribute to the community, because that's really what we're talking about here. If you didn't know, I don't get paid to do this. This is something I just enjoy doing. And if I figure out the right button to press, is it going to work? No. Oh, well, there's a button here somewhere. I was going to try and get the logo to pop up on the screen. Oh, wait, I have this one. No, nothing's working. I had this problem last week where this was just upsetting me. And oops, no, I don't want to launch Photoshop. Go away, Photoshop. Okay. Yeah, maybe it's the wrong anyway. Do you know what? I don't pay myself enough to worry about these things. Where I try and have all these oh, here it is. Yeah, it's these buttons. Is it going to work? Yeah, there you go. Hey, dash cam. I've been getting so much dash cam video. I got 2 pieces today. Did I get time to edit them? No, I didn't. But I've got video. Maybe we'll try and get it in later. But I have some great video that I want to share with you. I just want to acknowledge the fantastic people at Diamond and Diamond Lawyers. They are sponsoring the show because they contribute to the financial ability of the Canadian Organization for Better Traffic Safety and Education, bettertraffic.ca. They help keep the lights on, help pay for the software. And I think I need to upgrade this computer because it's not working right. Maybe they're going to help me with that. Or actually, their contributions do allow me to do stuff like that. So thanks to them. Thank you to Barrett Legal, another law firm that is helping out. And there's other organizations that don't necessarily need to be named because they're just happy to contribute. If you want to contribute, go to askatrafficcop.ca. You can support us in many different ways, and it's all on the website. Okay, moving on. We've got Brandon, who was like first in the chat. Says, hello, Sean and all from South Carolina. Day 2 of the road trip. Hope you all had an awesome day. He just picked up a ZR1 Corvette at the Corvette Museum yesterday. I'm eager to see all these cars in person at some point when we have lunch. Okay, Stephen Bell says, hi, good evening, Sean. Good evening, Stephen. If you're wondering why I'm able to put their stuff on screen, they're coming in by YouTube, LinkedIn, and X. I also have the chat coming in from TikTok and Instagram. They're on different pages, and I will be acknowledging you guys as you come in, at least the questions that we're answering. But I just want to let you know that I can't always see it as easily. Oh yeah, I can zoom. Ooh, I'm zooming in. That works a lot better. These eyes need help. Okay. We got Wayne who says, "Hi, good evening, Sean." Good evening to you, Wayne. Good to see you. Sergeant Frank Schultz comes in. He says, "Hi, PC Sean Shapiro. Nice to see you back on. Not PC anymore, but former PC. I used to be a cop, and now I'm just a civilian. The civilian life is taking some adjustment, getting used to. But I'm happy to be contributing as a civilian, as a former police officer, with all that knowledge being put to good use." Brandon adds that he was brake checked by a guy on a motorcycle today. That's a really dumb move from a motorcycle rider because they stop fast and cars don't stop fast. And when they meet in the middle, a motorcycle guy gets hurt. And if you got dash camera, they don't get paid. Buy a dash camera, folks. If you do anything, if you listen to nothing else that I talk about, please invest to protect yourself by installing a dash camera. Now, I have links at askatrafficcop.ca under emergency or safety equipment. I think it is a must have for every vehicle. Buy any one you want. I happen to have links to two of them. My favorites are the ThinkWare. I've got them in my car, my dad's car, and they're great. But it doesn't matter what you have as long as you have an independent record of what actually happened. And in Brandon's case, if he was brake checked by a motorcycle idiot, and I'm a motorcycle guy, I'm not saying all motorcycle guys are idiots. I'm saying a motorcycle idiot is one who brake checks a Corvette. Anyway, that's the thing. All right, let's jump into Louis has a message. He wants to know, what do police use to measure tint? Do they use a tint meter? Some. Here's the deal. In the province of Ontario, laying a charge for having too much tint doesn't require the use of a detector or measurement tool, a tint meter, because the charge says you obscured the interior of your motor vehicle. Well, what is obscuring? Well, it's the officer's testimony and notes to suggest that it was the way they said it was. Could they use it for inspection? Like mechanics have a tint meter. They have to have it for certification because you have more than 30% tint or light blockage. Your vehicle's not safe for the road. But police don't require it to lay a charge. Unsafe motor vehicle doesn't require it. It would all be their testimony. And if they took pictures, great. But again, don't need it. All they have to be able to say is what they saw. Undead Neon, long time no see. No kidding. He says, long time no see. And Undead Neon's been around for a long, long time as part of the Ask a Traffic Cop fam. Okay, Sonia shared the live. Thank you so much. If you're watching on TikTok, please like, share, tap the screen till your fingers go numb. It really helps bring more people to the party. And the more people who show up, the better the questions get because it's variety. If you've been here and you keep coming here, then you probably know all the stuff that I say because I say the same stuff to the similar questions a lot. But if you have new questions, like school bus questions, like the video I put up today, that just makes the party more fun. And we're not just talking about, simple laws. We could talk about anything. Like Meshtastic. Anybody using Meshtastic? I am fascinated by this little toy. I have now 3 nodes, and I built another 3 nodes, so 6 nodes in total, messing around with this new technology that I think is so cool. But if you know what it is, say, hey, we talk about it. Okay, we got a whole bunch of stuff coming in on the Instagram. Decepticons Forever. Love that new name, by the way. He says, Sean, I haven't been on in a while. No, I saw your messages today, but no, just in general, I haven't seen you in a while. Good to have you back. We got Christine and Sinister and Decepticons Forever saw the bus stop video today. Awesome. I saw your message and he says, the beard looks good. Thank you very much. Although I think I need to get in and do a little tidying up. It's getting a little unruly. I had it like on point last week, but it grows. Let's see here. Furious 122 says, Sean, I don't know. Oh, let's see here. I think he said he's pissed. 400 southbound, blitz 2 lanes, 401 east 2 lanes, 401 and 401 west and 2 lanes, Black Creek. And I'm sick and tired of those jokers cutting in the Black Creek lanes, crossing a solid line. I wish there were speed cameras that we could use for people who cross the solid line. Listen, the solid line isn't necessarily an offense. Depends on where they're crossing. But yeah, people just being doinks on the road is terrible. The whole concept of this of community, of being good to one another. The road doesn't have to be a place where you're angry and stressed out and trying to get 2 inches in front of the person who is there waiting in line. But like everyone just be nice to one another. We'll all get there. And if we're nice to one another, we'll probably get there safer. But that's a whole different discussion. We got Inga helping kids. How's it going? We haven't spoken in a while. I got to I think we're talking about the same. I think it's the person. I think it is. Maybe it's not. I hate getting brake checked. Nah, nobody likes getting brake checked. C. Kennedy 221 says, "Were you always Toronto police?" I was. I started as an auxiliary, became a court officer, became a court supervisor, became an auxiliary sergeant, and then became a police constable, and then left at the end. Let's see here. We got Abdullah, and we've got, what is this? I've seen people that tint their whole windshield. What do I think about that? It's not legal. You can't tint your windshield at all. If I saw it and I was a road cop, I would pull them over and I would take their license plates. It's an unsafe motor vehicle. Okay. Let's talk about this. I see a great question. Michaela's boy says, a cop impounded my Suron. Are they illegal? Yes, they're illegal, but they don't have VINs. So was it impounded by a tow truck, or was it taken into police property until such time as they got to your court? And the deal is that, yeah, they are an unsafe, unlicensed, uninsured motor vehicle being operated on public roads. Are absolutely illegal. I caught some dash cam of two kids on a Suron today, one wearing a helmet, one not. The guy with the helmet, oddly enough, was wearing Crocs. That's a crock. Like, these vehicles are for off-road use only, have no business being on the road. So if they impounded it at a motor vehicle impound, they probably screwed up. If they took it in their trunk and took it into the property bureau, that would be the correct way of doing it. But at the end of the day, yeah, Surons are not legal for the road. I would have written you a boatload of tickets. Like, no insurance alone is $5,000 to $25,000, and I would have absolutely written that. Chet says, rights on red. Do you mean like rights on red lights? How does it work? You got to come to a complete stop, and if it's without a sign prohibiting that turn, as long as it's safe to do so, after you have completed a stop and ensure that you can make the right turn in safety, then you can proceed on a red light. Again, unless it's marked and stated otherwise by way of a regulated sign. Oh, Decepticons Forever says, Sean, I'm depressed we never connected this summer. Listen, the summer's not over, although my time has been insane. As I mentioned, this is not something I get paid to do. I do this because I want to contribute to the community, and I do a lot of other things in terms of work. I have 2 companies launching. I have all sorts of side projects, and I got a new 3D printer, which takes up a lot of my time. But I'm trying to get out to other stuff. I did go to the Honda Indy. I did go to the Toronto or the Canadian International Auto Show. I may be doing some live events. We'll see. We'll figure some stuff out. Bergamutka says, hi, Sean. And I say hi back to you, Berga. Good to see you. Dorothy followed me, and Adrian, thank you for the follows. Let's see here. Berga wants to know, what sidekick job are you working on? It's not really a sidekick job. I mean, we've got 2 major program. One's a software platform for education, and the other one is a service industry app that's going to kick some serious butt once it launches. We're just in final stages of both of them, so it's really exciting stuff. Boom. Is it worth fighting a traffic ticket for improper lane change? Erica the cat wants to know the answer to that. And the deal is this: I'm the wrong person to answer, or to get that question answered. Here's my story. Everyone's entitled to the opportunity to challenge the ticket. However, if you did what they say you did, could you benefit by going to court? Yes, you might be able to negotiate a reduction. And for that, it's probably worth it for you to go, because you don't need to hire someone to represent you in court. You can go to court and say, I'd like to take responsibility for my actions, but I'd like to plead to a lesser included offense that has less points and a lower fine. That's entirely something you can do without any representation. Although, if it's a serious offense, you could really screw it up and get screwed. So that's a different situation. But if you really did what you said you were doing, and you're going to go there and say, like, a guy wrote to me, and I haven't responded to him yet, but he says, I got a ticket for speeding, but I had to poo, which is a standard. He didn't say poo. He said he had to go to the bathroom. But that's a standard thing that every cop has heard. And is it an excuse for speeding? No. Plan your poop. That's what you got to do. Or go to a gross place that you pass by. Like, too much information. I had to use the washroom. I went to a gas station that was so vile and disgusting. But I was committed. I had to go. Like there was no pause. And I went to the washroom in the most disgusting of bathrooms, and then they had no toilet paper. What do? You find an article of clothing that you don't mind leaving behind and you use that. I'm just telling you that you do what you got to do, but you don't speed put lives at risk and potentially get hurt or worse, right? And then there's of course getting charged, which is just being held responsible. Let's see here. Duh, 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 duh. Is where okay? We got that. We got that. Um, Boy, Erica, the cat really wants to know the answer to that question. Dad joke from Bernhard. Bernhard, brother, how you been? The Bernhard is now a longtime follower who has become a member of the law enforcement community. We've actually met in person, although it was completely random. I logged your dad joke for later. If you got dad jokes, throw them into the dad joke comment bin so I can collect it and put it into the end of the show. We'll read them and we'll have some fun. Melody says, thank you for letting Erica know about so I read the questions, I go along, more questions pile in. People think I'm ignoring them. I'm not. I read them as I get them, and that's just how it works. So if you're not getting the instant gratification of me acknowledging you, it's because I have not read your message yet. And then people start saying, is this live? Is this pre-recorded? It is live. It is not pre-recorded. It just takes a while. We're here till, 10 o'clock or maybe a little later. So we'll try and get to you. And if you don't get a chance to have your question heard, but really want to have an answer, you can always DM me. You can also go to askatrafficcop.ca and hit the button on the right side of the screen where you can leave me a voicemail message. I'll even leave you a voicemail message in return. And then we might take that voice clip and use it in a future show. I did get one today after I posted about it, and I didn't get a chance to listen to it yet because I've been out all day. So my apologies. I'll talk about your stuff tomorrow, because tomorrow I'll be on at 10 a.m. again, because I do this thing where I do Tuesday nights and Wednesdays mornings. Says who needs sleep? And I was actually on Monday because we did a show combo with Jerry Agar on News Talk 1010. So that was a thing. C Kennedy 221 says, Mr. Shapiro, do you believe communities are better of policed and protected by municipal police services or provincial police services like the OPP, for example, in Ontario? That's a tough question. Here's the deal. I really believe in municipal police forces. I was a member. I'm biased. I was a member of the Toronto Police Service, and although in different capacities, I was a member for nearly 25 years. And I really believe in what a municipality that develops long-term relationships in that community. Well, what that does, you know the people in your community. You specialize in what's going on there, and you help them. And when you have a larger service that handles a larger area and primarily responds to calls, you're getting a more transactional experience as opposed to relationship building within the community. It's very, very different. And we have communities that are policed by the OPP, and no shade to the OPP, it's not them. The municipalities can't afford to have a municipal police service, so they contract out calls and they pay every time a police car drives. You call them, they get billed for that. And some of them say, don't patrol here. We don't want to pay. You come when we call, but don't come otherwise. And that's not the same kind of relationship the Toronto Police has with its communities, because they're there all the time, whether you want them or not, right? So I really appreciate municipal police services because they're part of the community. And the OPP are in many places and do a great job, but it's different. So that's my take on it. And maybe things have changed and my take is outdated. I stand to be corrected if that's no longer accurate, but that's my understanding of how many of them operate. And, we talk about the municipal services in some parts of Canada. It's the RCMP handling everything. It's a federal police service, but, they may have the detachments that do effective policing for their communities. So I don't know how other places do it, but, more locally, that's my take on it. That's my hot take. Okay. But what do we got here? A lot of people telling Erica to calm it down, which is all old. What's behind the increase of people riding bikes and walking on controlled access highways lately? I think people are just so controlled by their GPS that no one knows how to get anywhere. Like nobody knows how to get it. I turn my GPS. I know where I'm going. I turn my GPS just so I can have, traffic updates, potential route changes, and an estimated time of arrival. And I even send that information to whomever I'm meeting so they don't get their, knickers in a knot trying to figure out where I am. But you get some people that have never been to the city of Toronto and they're suddenly delivering food on a bicycle and reliant on Waze. And Waze says, get on the highway. And they go, okay, that's why you get there. I gotta go there, but I got that way because that's where it is. They just follow the line. And the line doesn't change if you're a bicycle necessarily. If you're in Google, you can say you're on a bicycle. If you're in Waze, you're in a car, baby. I don't think there is a cycle option. And it takes you on to controlled access highways. And if you just follow the line, boop, boop, you're somewhere you're not supposed to be. So yeah, it's happening everywhere. What do we got here? Trying to like get through the whole. Where's the rest of the traffic cop family? Not in my basement right now. If we're talking about Sergeant Murray Campbell, he's probably on vacation or doing something fun because he's got that kind of time and ability. But the deal is that I've spoken to him recently. I saw him at the Honda Indy, but I've not. I don't know where he is at the moment. If you're watching, my name is Sean Shapiro. Well, if you're watching, if you're not watching, you're not hearing this message. So yeah, obviously, if you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer. I left the job just under a year ago, like just under a year ago. And now I have a not-for-profit organization called the Canadian Organization for Better Traffic Safety and Education. And this show is put on by that not-for-profit. Not-for-profit means I'm not making money at this. This is all done to try and just make the roads safer. It's something I want to do to give back. Even though I'm no longer a police officer. So I still share my information and knowledge and partner with other people and police agencies and just trying to do good stuff. So if you want to help support that, by all means, go to askatrafficop.ca. If you want to buy stuff that you're looking for, like dash cameras, I got Amazon links that do go back and pay out a small percentage to the organization. If you want to buy us a coffee, you can do that too. Whatever you like, whatever works. And if you don't, that's good too. This is just because I do it. Let's see here. Panjab wants to know, when cops run your license plate, what do they see on their screen? Do they see your insurance status? Everybody wants to know about the insurance status. So a basic run of the system will give you back your license plate, the registered owner, the information of whether or not it's valid for the road. It doesn't give you, unless things have changed in the last little while, does not give you an insurance return that actually tells you the policy number, policy status. If they run it with the ministry, they get all that same information, and they also get whether or not it was, is the word verified? It's another word, but it's similar to verified, and it just escaped my mind. Tip but a tongue, but it's gone. And the deal is that it just tells them whether or not it was confirmed or unconfirmed. That's what it is. And it's a 15-day window. So if it says confirmed, it may or may not be insured, which means a police officer still needs to see proof and they still need to verify it. And if you're involved in any kind of incident, they still need your insurance information to call the insurance company and verify the status of that policy. And they have 3 years to do that. What do I mean? I mean, if you're driving without insurance and they take your information and you give them a valid slip, but the valid slip could be fake as crap. And if they, on their downtime, go back and say, this is what I used to do, I used to sit in court while I was thinking, I'd be checking off the policies and I'd call on my break and I'd call the insurance companies of everybody I stopped that week. And if there was anybody who had an invalid insurance policy, I then went back and served them for drive no insurance, because that charge, I have 3 years delay from the date of the offense. And of course, if I saw you driving on that date and time and it was not valid, because they can check, everything's recorded on an insurance company. Yeah, you're done. Let's see here. Christu says, Mr. Shapiro, how does an officer properly judge the response speed to traffic conditions when responding to a high priority call? How do you balance both speed and response time? Interesting question. I appreciate the question. These are good questions from you. The deal is that it's called guaranteed arrival. So the guaranteed arrival concept means if we don't get there safely without hurting anybody else or ourselves, if we get there and we can get there safely by not causing another collision, which would then hurt somebody or ourselves and prevent us from arriving to help, well, we're no good to anybody. So we have to get there safely without doing any harm, which means you're not about racing there. You're about getting there safely so you can do good. That's the story. I think I fumbled that around the way I was trying to say it, but guaranteed arrival means you get there and you get there as quickly as safely as possible. How quickly is irrelevant. If you don't get there safe, you're not there. What's the law on tinting your headlights and taillights? You cannot tint your headlights. You cannot change the color of your headlights. You can only project a white or yellow bulb to the front. And as Melody, the mechanic, who's number 2 on our list right now, is top viewer, you cannot be certified with anything other than a white headlight. I always thought it was either or. And back in the old days when I was a kid, because I'm old, yellow headlights were a thing. But now it's fog lights can be yellow. Greg, thanks for the gift, by the way. I see that you sent a heart of some kind, and I appreciate it. Um, I think we're up to a couple $100 now. That's actually going to the Canadian organization, Canadian Organization for Better Traffic Safety and Education. Much appreciated. Blondie says, "What is it?" But I don't know what you're. I don't know what you're asking. Um, is a Talaria X-Throw Pro e-bike street legal if rider is under 16 years old? Well, first of all, if a Talaria X3 Pro, which I know nothing about, let's open up a window, shall we? What is a Talaria X3 Pro? Oh, a $6,000 e-bike. Let's have a look. Let's look at the specs, shall we? It is referred to as a Talaria Triple X. It is a 60-volt battery design that spans the frame and includes with the blah 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 blah. 5.5 kilowatt peak power. It's totally illegal. What else can I see here? So you can't have more than a 500-watt motor. Period. This is a kilowatt. You're way over. Where's the specs? Show me. What's the speed? How fast can this bad boy go? 100. Where's the speed? I mean, I know it's going to be ridiculous, but why doesn't it say how fast it can go? More efficient. Tell me speed. Dang it all. Tells you everything but speed. Why? Because it's going to be nowhere. 32 kilometers an hour is the maximum legal speed that a device like this can be capable of going. And I don't even see functional pedals here. They must have functional pedals. So an e-bike can be not more than 120 kilos, cannot have more than a 500-watt motor, cannot have a capable max speed unassisted by pedals of more than 32 kilometers an hour on a flat surface. Needs to have those functional pedals. What else? What else? What else? That's it. But this ain't that. I can't see them stating the speed because it probably does 70 kilometers or more an hour. And let's do this. Instead of me trying to scour the internet, I'm gonna allow my friend ChatGPT to take the URL. What's the top speed of this machine? Let it do the digging for me. I do love ChatGPT. It's an amazing, a marvel. A UK dealer lists the top speed as 47 miles per hour peak with a 5,000-watt peak power on a lightweight kilogram chassis. Gram chassis would be really, really light. 47 miles per hour seems to be what most people are saying. It's got eco mode of 20 miles per hour. Let's see what else I can find. Oops, wrong window. Okay. So what I say it was going to be about 75. Look at that. 47 miles per hour, 75.6 kilometers an hour. Yeah. Now, I'm not sure where it's getting the 50 miles per hour, but that would be 80 kilometers an hour. So it's between 76 and 80 kilometers an hour. So I'm going to say it's illegal. Like, even if you were just to keep it under 32 kilometers an hour, it's not legal. Period. Anybody want to see what this thing looks like? I'll show you. And you tell me what you think this is. $3,149. It's a mean machine. And I'm looking here. There ain't no pedals to be seen. There's no way to manually drive that rear wheel that I can see. But it looks badass. Don't get me wrong. Just not legal. Not legal in the province of Ontario. Not classified as an e-bike at all whatsoever. But like that's like saying, I'll have a Tesla. I'd like to drive it on the road, but I'll keep it at 32 kilometers an hour. I promise. And then can I drive it without license, ownership, and insurance? Yeah, it's not legal. Okay. And 16 years old, it doesn't matter how old you are. It's not legal. You could be 50 years old and it ain't legal. On private property, however, it's legal at any age. May not be smart at any age, but it's absolutely legal. Let's have a look here and see if I've ignored anything here. Simply Harjeet, how you doing? wants to know about brightness of headlights. And Simply RG just got the answer for his second question of what's the legal limit for e-bikes. We just covered that, so cool. Thank you for everyone who's jumping in saying, "Don't spam." I appreciate it. Don't spam. It really does make it harder for me to weed through the discussions. In fact, if you add the letter Q before a question, I actually know it's a question. And hello, Nicholas Rizzi, who's just jumped in to say, "Hey, what's up?" and type some stuff and things. Always appreciate the comedian's perspective. He is a comedian. He goes on he goes on stage and stuff. He does the comedian thing. He also does some accounting thing. Okay, let me scroll back and see if we can catch up to the new stuff and things. Um, what was your last project on your 3D printer? Kim Dresser wants to know. I was printing spools because I got a ton of new filament, and a lot of the filament I order is not on spools. Not only because I order it not on spools for refill purposes, but because they're out of stock of the stuff that comes on spools. So I have a lot of different colors. I am running 2 AMS units of my Bamboo Labs H2D, and I had a project for my wife that required, and it's currently printing. It's on a 16-hour print job, printing a cute cow in full color. But in terms of other projects, I was printing Meshtastic cases. Meshtastic. Anybody doing Meshtastic? Absolutely interested in talking about Meshtastic. Anybody playing with Helltech V3s? I just got myself a T deck, which is a lily what? A lily. I can't remember what it's called. It's a lily something. Lily. I can't remember what it's called. Lily frickin' heck, what the heck is it called? I can't believe it. Anyway, it's not sitting in front of me, so I can't read the label on it, but it's an all-in-one device rather than something that needs to be paired with your phone. So it's neat. So yeah, I've been printing a lot of cases and building a lot of radio units, playing with stuff. Ryan wants to know about Crohn's on the highway. So Crohn's being the disease as opposed to a typo for cones. Listen, people have medical conditions that require them to use the bathroom, but there's no Crohn's, if which might send you to the bathroom more frequently, doesn't give you the authority to speed excessively and put lives at risk. Nothing does. Call 911 if it's an emergency. If not, make frequent stops and plan it with your life. You know, I have many friends that have Crohn's, and it's not fun, I know, but you don't get to hurt people. Kay says, Shapiro, where are you from? I'm from Toronto, Canada, Ontario. I'm a former police officer from the province of Ontario in the great country of Canada, the one with the maple leaf on the flag. Let's see here. Kevin says, he's on TikTok too. By the way, if you're watching on TikTok, please tap the screen so your fingers going on, bring more people to the party so we get more questions. And then thank you for policing the chat group to let people know that it takes me a while to get through the questions. Way Too Neat says, if you're driving a car with no insurance, what's the consequences? If you're are you the owner of the car of the vehicle with no insurance? Because that changes things. And it doesn't just count for the owner, but if you're the person in control of the car, not just someone who borrowed it for a day unknowingly, but if you are driving a car with no insurance, you are going to be charged for owner operate a motor vehicle on a road with no insurance, and that's a $5,000 to $25,000 fine and up to 6 months in jail for your first conviction. It goes up from there, and it's not a fun charge to deal with. It's just not. It's a stupid one because if you were actually getting that charge in conjunction with hurting somebody, that means you're going to get sued and you're going to be paying for a very long time. If you are the driver of a vehicle that's insured, or if you're the owner of a vehicle who lent it to somebody else, you're still going to get charged. Whether you're the one driving it or as the owner, or you've loaned it to somebody else, you're going to get charged. So don't let your vehicle that's uninsured be on the road. Don't drive a vehicle that's not insured. Now, if you're driving somebody else's vehicle and they led you to believe it's insured or it was roadworthy, you may not, you won't be charged necessarily for driving a vehicle without insurance. We'll still go after the registered owner, but you're not going to get coverage if you get hurt. So you're really in a tight spot. It's just make sure the stuff is covered. Don't drive a car that's not safe for the road, that's not insured for the road. Like if you don't put good tires on your vehicle, if you're driving on bald tires, you get into a collision, guess what? You're going to get charged for failing to maintain your vehicle to a safe level. Like it has to be safe for the road, not like tires. There's tons of things. Keep your vehicle well maintained. Get your eyes checked, not because it's the same thing. I'm just saying, you want to make sure your body's in good shape too. If you can't see and you're driving, you're putting others at risk. Just common sense stuff. Okay. There's such a lag. TikTok is more up to date. Instagram's like 30 seconds. Yeah, Instagram is huge delay. All right. Official VK29 says, if you've ever been the victim of a crime, is it difficult to become a police constable? If you've been the victim of a crime? No, people are sometimes motivated to become a police officer because they were the victim of a crime. We don't punish victims. You punish bad guys. And if you've been criminally convicted of something, well, then that's going to make it difficult to become a police officer. You cannot be a police officer unless you've been pardoned. And try getting a pardon if it was a serious charge. Good luck. I don't think it's going to happen. So, don't rule yourself out. If you are interested in becoming a police officer, go check out www.tps.ca. Check it out. Look at what the requirements are. Talk to a recruiter. They're the ones who are going to tell you exactly what the story is. What is this? We've got user lots of numbers says, what happens when an uninsured e-bike hits my car? How will that work? Well, that's why you have insurance. The sad truth is that an e-bike that hits your car, they're going to get paid from your insurance. They're going to claim and sue your insurance for their loss of work and all that stuff. I don't agree that e-bikes or cyclists should get covered like that. I think they should have their own bloody insurance. I'm unfortunately not a friend to those. I have an e-bike. I have bicycles. I don't think that the car should be responsible for paying for my injuries if I cause the collision. If they cause the collision, hell yeah. But if I cause the collision, I don't think I should be covered by their insurance. Why should their insurance go up? But that's the reality of the game. People go out there, act like asses, get hurt, and then they sue. And they sue you. Even if they cause the collision, because they got to get paid. I mean, who's going to pay for their stuff? Doesn't always work for them, but they certainly do make their claims against your insurance. Melody the mechanic, says, in my small community area, we have OPP. The officers are local, friends, and family. That's amazing. So that's great that that's the case. I'm very happy to hear that. This is in relation to a comment that I made to a question about what do I think between municipal policing and provincial police. I've never lived in a small town. I don't know how it works, but everything I've heard was that the municipalities that can't afford, or maybe they're the ones who switched from their own police service to OPP, that it's done differently. And if you're saying it's different in your community, I'm thrilled to hear that. I have lots of friends with the OPP, but we've never had this discussion. Marquis, we'll call Marku. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I turn Waze on to see if there's hazards / cops. I use it constantly. Kevin Samantha says Google bought Waze. Yes, it did. Google bought Waze, and all of their technology. It's actually amazing. Google, Waze was an Israeli company that developed all this technology for social networking and geolocation, like mapping. And then Google bought it because all of the Google Maps is based on information that's shared through Waze. That technology is now in both apps, but the way that they go about reporting it is different. So you want to go straight line and know where all the stuff is, you use Google. It's a straight line, easy peasy. But you want to take 576 turns to go the same distance that would take 3 turns with Google, but you want to feel like you're still moving? Waze is your app. I love Waze. I hate sitting still. So yeah, Waze is great. But same technology behind both. Mike says asks, is windshield tint allowed and how dark is the limits? Windshield tint is not allowed at all whatsoever in the province of Ontario. If you have a vehicle that was manufactured before 2017, you can have up to 3 inches across the top as a brow, but that's it. And when you're talking about how, if you had any tint on a windshield of a newer car, like let's talk about the full windshield tint, which is what I'm seeing all over the place. That is an unsafe motor vehicle. I would have you either pull the tint or I'd charge you for unsafe motor vehicle, pull your plates. You'd have the choice. Simply Harjeet says, thank you for your service and wants to know if I ever rode the horses. I used to ride horses as a kid. There was a weight limit for horses, I think 250 pounds. I don't think I've ever been under 250 pounds as a police officer. I'm 6'5", big guy. And I never rode the horses. I did have an option once. I was working at the Pride Parade at a traffic point, and a friend of mine who was part of the mounted unit said, hold my horse. I got to go to the bathroom. So I held his horse, the reins, being hug. And then his partner rode up and said, hey, want to go for a ride? And I said, I didn't go for a ride, but he was like, jump on. I'm like, what? I got a traffic point, but I think I got a picture. It was a cool day. What does code R mean on a speeding ticket? Kevin Naranja wants to know. Nadaraja, Nadaraja. Okay. Kevin wants to know what the R means in a speeding ticket. It means reduced. So if the police officer caught you doing 70 but wrote you a ticket for doing 60 in a 50, they reduced it at roadside so the prosecutor in court can see that it was reduced. And in the event of going to court, they could always ask to bring it back up to the original speed. So police officer or the prosecutor can say, you're fighting a ticket for 10 over when it was reduced roadside. We want to bring a motion to have it, revert to its original speed, which was 20 over. So that's what the R means. It means you ain't getting a better deal. Brandon says spam is not good to eat and not good on the chat. Truer words could not be known. In fact, we used to get a lot of comments about spam. In fact, our good friend there, Akela Draconis, brought me a can of spam, which I probably have somewhere here, the same can, where we used to wave it and say, don't spam the chat. It's for sandwiches, but I've never eaten spam. What is this? When someone gets arrested for disorderly conduct, what does that mean? I've never actually laid the charge for disorderly conduct, but someone who's disturbing the peace could be charged for behavior that is, inappropriate or unsafe. Or I've never laid a charge. I don't even know what I would write in the notes for that. But disorderly conduct, like that must be a U.S. phraseology. Okay. Oh, does the dash cam date and time need to be on the video to make it admissible? No. If you have video that doesn't include that because you didn't set it, if it's obviously the person that's involved, like if you were in a collision and the collision is involving that car, it makes sense. It works. It jives, even if you don't have the date and time on it. It's better to have the date and time on it, but it doesn't mean it's not excusable. Like, what happens if you set the clock on your thing and it's 5 minutes off? The car plows into the front of your vehicle and they say, well, it's 5 minutes off. He wasn't there 5 minutes before the collision, so then we're going to toss it. No, it's a bull crap. Nobody knows how to set a VCR clock either, and it's still okay. So that's the thing. It would be cool if you had Nick off duty on the show. I've met Nick. Nick, I spoke at the Smile conference last year, Smile convention in Florida, and I met Nick, and I'm supposed to speak at this one. I got to reach out to him. I can't make it now. I was supposed to go to North Carolina and speak at the Smile conference again, but maybe I can do it remotely. Thank you for reminding me, because I need to make that happen, because I feel terrible. I said I was going to respond to them like a week ago. All right. Was there a big farewell party when you left the force? A big one? I had a big thing online. They had a nice article about me, and I went for a nice buffet with a bunch of the gang. It wasn't a big party. It was a party. It was my friends. Have you ever been part of a drug bust? You and some other cops found 5,000. No, I've never been part of a big drug bust. I can't even read the entire rest of your. It's a long thing. It's very involved. He's going to be at Yuck Yucks tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Tickets are $12. Bring your nightsticks just in case it goes. So there you have it. If you want to see Nick Rizzi tomorrow at Yuck Yucks in Toronto, 8 p.m., $12 for tickets. I can't make it, but maybe y'all can. Go support the man. What do we got here? Keep in mind, I convinced a Metro accountant from Ajax to make the drive to come to the Yuck Yuck show in Toronto. So if they're coming from Ajax, you should leave seats. Let's see here. Stephen Bell wants to know if I've ever ridden the subway or streetcars before, as a police officer, as like for enforcement, or for just riding. I've used them my whole life. They're great. Oh, see, can you request the judge to bring the traffic fine to the original fine and in return take away? You can request anything you want. Whether they agree with it is up to them. All right. Moving down. Did you see the dump trucks in Ottawa? I did not see the dump trucks in Ottawa. What's the story with the dump trucks in Ottawa? I'm not familiar with the story. Apparently, I missed it. We talked about that. Melody jumped in with the white headlights, only fog lights, white or yellow or amber. But yellow is amber. What do you mean? Okay. What I really can't stand is that iris light they put around the headlights that project in, like they just glow, but they're just silly and they're not legal. Please check your DMs. Okay. I don't check my DMs while I'm live. But I see Erica the cat who spammed for 20 minutes is now asking me to check their mail. Isn't there a ticket for using high beams? There is a ticket for failing to lower your beams on oncoming or approaching. So approaching traffic or approaching other traffic. So if you're within 110, 70 meters behind 100, hang on, I gotta look this up because it's been a minute since I looked this up. And it's what is the I used to rhyme. Actually, I always questioned it even when lower beam. Let's see. Lower beam. Fail to lower beam. When on a highway at any time when lighted lamps are required to be displayed on vehicles, the driver of a motor vehicle equipped with multiple beam headlamps should use a lower beam when passing, approaching oncoming vehicles within 150 meters. And the other one is going to be, I think, 70 meters. 60 meters. Yeah, so close. So if you're following another vehicle within 60 meters, you have to lower your beams. And it's a $110 ticket for either. And if you're in a community safety zone, it's $150. Yeah. Brandon Lawrence says there's a heavy police presence on my road right now, hit and run on someone walking their dog. Oh, it's a shame. You know what? And like, listen, if someone actually hits someone, just stop. Stop and render assistance. There's so many, like, maybe it's the difference between saving a life and taking one. Yeah, you hit them. Stop the bloody car and help them. The running away thing is the most cowardly thing you can do. Right Track Racing says, here's one for you, Sean. Large transport truck used for towing. The regulatory will require a DZ, license to drive without a trailer. Someone asked me if you're registered with an RV, you no longer need a D license. Large transport used for towing, they regularly would require a DZ. So there's been some changes with RVs, but what's that got to do with the transport truck question? I'm a confused guy. But Right Track Racing is the one and only Blaze, and he's a copper who's a friend of mine, and we can talk about that after the show. Jake Care says, being a good Samaritan, you pull someone out of a crash, causing more injuries to the victims, you can be sued. What is this? Oh, you're saying if you help someone, you could be sued by pulling them out. But at very least, it may just be call 911. That might be what you need to do to be the good Samaritan. You don't, if you don't know what you're doing as a without first aid training, like you don't pull someone. Yeah, okay, no, you cannot drive a semi. Is it sorry, large transport truck? Are you talking about a semi, like an 18-wheeler, and you're going to register it as an RV and drive it with a G license? I don't buy that for a second. Sorry, we're into like the rabbit hole of this question. Yeah, no. Listen, if you had an RV, you can drive it with a G. If it was an RV, a legit RV, and they've just changed the whole licensing thing around RVs, you now need to get special licensing depending on the size, shape, and color. I don't know. There's some changes there. I'd have to look at that. I don't buy that for a second. First of all, what makes an 18-wheeler a cab, an RV? I can't. How do you just go and say, I'm going to take my my Cadillac and make it an RV? Like that's it has. No, I don't buy that. I mean, stranger things have happened. I just don't buy that. Okay. So Brandon Lawrence, I don't know what's going on there, but with the hit and run business, but my God, if someone hits someone, let them stop and help. Why run? I mean, the problem is people get into, they're drunk and they run, they're wanted, they have warrants and they run. There's all sorts of reasons why people run. Hopefully, if they just got spooked, they come back and do the right thing. But again, 911, just call 911. Like at least do something. Crazy Joe says in BC, people bypass electric motorcycles by welding pedals to them. Yeah, but that doesn't do anything to it. It has to be functional pedals capable of driving the device. And even having the pedals doesn't make a 5,000 kilowatt or 2,000, whatever the hell that thing was, legal for the road. It has to meet all of the requirements, not just one of them. They make it look good. And then half the people take the pedals off in Ontario just because it doesn't look good. They want something that pretends to be a motorcycle or is a motorcycle but doesn't have insurance. It's ridiculous. We need to update the laws. We need to crack down on these people who are effectively driving cars and motorcycles because they plug them in to charge them. They don't want to pay for insurance. And that's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. Let's see. We talked about Kevin's question about code R. Crazy Joe says it has to be 49cc. 49C, you don't need a license in BC. So that's different. BC has different laws. In Ontario, 49cc is still it's still a motorcycle. 42cc. If it's got an engine, see the writing of the law in Ontario is that if it's anything, well, okay, let's actually go Canada wide. Canada wide, criminal code sees anything that propels itself by using anything other than muscular power as a motor vehicle. Most, not all, but most traffic acts will say that anything other than muscular power is a motor vehicle as well. However, they have exemptions and qualifications that make it legal, like the one for the Ontario e-bike. No more than 32 kilometers an hour max speed unassisted by a physical pedal, then it could qualify potentially with some other conditions. But at the end of the day, if you have a gas-powered motor, there is no exemption because it's a gas-powered motor. Listen, a moped used to be legal with a G-class license, still needed insurance. Now you need a motorcycle license. You can get away with a low-speed one, but that's it. And Right Track Racing rightly says we used to have a 49cc and under in Ontario. You have to have insurance and register it as a moped now. Absolutely. Boondock Beard Co. How's it going? Just a shout out to them. I did an open box because they sent me a gift. They sent me a nice package of stuff, and I am using that stuff ever since I opened the box. It's great stuff. If you're looking for beard products, check out Boondocks Beard Co. They're on Instagram. They're on TikTok. Check them out. I got to say that am I saying this right? It's the no, I'm not going to say it right because I can't remember the bloody name. It wasn't whiskey. Tell me, Boondocks Beard Co. Tell me which is the one I told you I loved the most. It was the bourbon and the other thing, sandalwood. I think it was bourbon and sandalwood. Just the most pleasing combination of stuff. I'm using the beard oil. I love it. Love it. Other stuff too. Also a carbon fiber. I think it's carbon fiber pick. I haven't had a pick in years. I got a pick. Okay. But what do we got here? Mr. Steak, thanks for the gift. And just to say, when you throw a gift my way, it's going to the not-for-profit called the Canadian Organization for Better Traffic Safety and Education. It's what's funding the show and doing other stuff too. All right, Tio, thanks for the follow. Maverick, what's going on? Crazy Joe says, I think they need to have a driver's license in order to be on the road and insurance. For 49cc for sure. And yeah. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, it's really fresh, Brandon. Okay, gotcha. I have a question about speeding. Can we drive 10 kilometers under the posted speed limit on a 50 or 60 zone? Sorry, 50 on a 60. Yeah, you can drive under the speed limit, stay to the right, and let faster moving traffic pass you. That's not unreasonable. And if it's raining, that's like what's suggested in the bloody handbook, which, yeah, it's you don't get a ticket for doing 10 under. You get a ticket for doing 10 over. Okay. Is there a law for tire sizing on a truck? Do you mean like having one that has tires that stick out? That's Jackson Archer wants to know. Do you mean tires that stick out of the from the body? They're not supposed to stick out like at all. They're supposed to be covered by fender or and mud flaps, and there's charges for that. Oh, Stephen Bell says, it's not that I've never broken the laws. I've never been arrested for it. Are there any laws enforcing vehicles to keep right and less overtaking, even if they're following the speed limit? So there's two laws, maybe a third that you can squeeze into it. But one is that if you're slower moving traffic, you should stay to the right. The other is unnecessary slow driving. I was recently talking about this on News Talk 1010. And could you be charged? Yeah, absolutely. Even if you're doing the limit. Now, the OPP will absolutely get you for left lane hogging. If you're doing 100 in a 100 zone in the left lane, I think that the person that needs to be charged is the idiot who wants to go faster because it's not legal. And the wording of the law says, slower than the normal speed. The normal speed is not an unlawful speed. The normal speed is what the average speed is within the speed limit. The limit is a maximum, not a starting point, not a minimum. People get it really, really wrong. Could you be charged like careless driving, etc., on e-bikes and scooters? Yes, you can, even bicycles. You don't even need an engine or motor or drivetrain. You can be charged for careless driving on a pedal bike, a tricycle. Yes, maybe not a tricycle. unless it was like an adult tricycle, but like the little one that I'm visualizing with a direct drive with the pedals attached to the front when you're like 3. No, that one probably not. uh, what do we got here? Archer has a follow-up. Mason Anderson says, Canadian police or USA? Canadian. Former police. I've got to add a Canadian flag. A lot of people get me confused with American. I don't know. I'm so American. I don't know. I'm not American. I was wearing a Florida shirt yesterday, a Miami Beach shirt. Maybe that's why people think I'm American. I just like America. I don't like Canada, and I like everywhere because I'm a world traveler. See, I like going to places. Can you get a ticket if you're impeding traffic? Yeah. Where do you draw the line between emergency and non-emergency when it comes to a traffic collision? It what do you mean? Like, as the person involved or as a police officer responding? Listen, I'll tell you that I've never gone faster than when I hear kids are involved. But is it rational to go faster because it's kids? As long as paramedics are getting there, they're the ones that are going to do the heavy lifting with fire department to save the day. I'm going to take the report as a police officer. So if you're talking about how fast I'm going to go, realistically, I shouldn't be going any faster than is what's safe. If you're talking about what's an emergency when it comes to you as an involved party in a collision, well, that's a different story because if you're talking about what is the right thing for you to do, when is it time to report, what is 911 versus non-emergency, which one can be reported to police, those are based on requirements under the Highway Traffic Act of the jurisdiction you're in. If you're talking about when do you have to report it to police, you report it to police if the combined value of all damages over $5,000. That's as of January of this year instead of 2,000, which it was last year. Now, the second thing is, if anybody is injured, is it an emergency? No. If they can take themselves to the hospital for a minor injury, they can possibly just, no, police don't have to attend. If someone's transported by ambulance, then police have to attend. If there's criminality involved, impaired driving, no insurance, things like that, then yes, police have to attend. But so I don't know where you're going, so I'm trying to answer every question in that question potentially. Let's see here. Oh, Winnipeg's mayor says, "Congrats on retirement." Well, thank you very much. It's not really retirement, like really, really not retirement, because I didn't leave to watch grass grow. Although I look forward to doing that one day. I left so I could be more available to my family and have more flexible schedule and help out the people that are most important to me. And I love all y'all, which is why I still do what I do. But I'm much more flexible by being able to be there for the people that need me. And that's what I did. What I did, and I still question. Like I miss being a cop. I miss being with my friends at work, but the people that matter most are my family. So I made the right decision. That's what I'm saying. Even though, I get work sick or miss work. Should e-bike riders have insurance? I certainly think so. And oh, thank you. Yeah, they've got they figure it's about a 3 to 5 minute delay. Depends on how much into the weeds I get on answering a particular question. Epic life, Epic life enthusiast says, "Good evening, Sean, and you enjoying your evening and retirement?" Of course, absolutely. I'm busier than I've ever been. It's great. What section of the HGA states the speed limit for a residential area with no speed signs? I don't even know. I've never really looked it up. I know that it's 50 and 80 for unsigned highways, but I couldn't tell you the section. I'd have to look it up. And unfortunately can't do it right now. Just send me an email. I'll look it up. We'll figure it out. Sergeant Frank says, "I was pulled over by OPP on the 407 for slow driving while I was speeding at 120, and the officer said everyone was doing 130. What would that ticket stand up in court? Not a hope in hell, in my opinion. I don't think that. I would like to figure out how they would support a ticket where you were driving lawfully while everybody else was breaking the law and somehow suggest that you should have broken the law too. That's like saying they were looting, so that's why I looted. That is ridiculous. That is not at all an enforceable ticket. Now, I could say that if you were on the left lane and the speeders were whizzing past you and they charged you for fail to move to the right, or slower traffic failed to move to the right, which is a charge. I have to look it up for the section, but slower. I looked this up recently. 140. Hang on a second. Hang on a second, because I have a conversation with a radio host. I was sending it to Jim Richards on Newstalk 1010, and I sent him all the stuff because we were chatting about it. Okay, what do I have here? So, 147 sub 1 failed to keep right when driving at less than the normal speed of traffic. It's a $180 fine, no points. Any vehicle traveling upon a roadway at less than the normal speed of traffic at that time and place shall, where practical, be driven at the right-hand lane then available for traffic, or as close to as practicable to the right-hand curb or edge of the roadway. Here's the thing: laws do not supersede other laws, in that it's not saying that the normal speed, which is being, broken by everybody else on the road, is now normal. No, the normal at or below the posted speed limit, because it can't say that you have to break the law in order to follow the law. That is ridiculous. And if that was brought up in court, I think that the officer would be lambasted. That's my opinion. Maybe they would find a prosecutor that would actually hold that one, but I don't think I think it's a worthless charge, other than to hope that the person doesn't challenge it and just pace it. And it may be well intentioned. I'm not calling that officer out for being ill intended. Ill intended. I don't think that they're being malicious in writing that. I think they actually believe it's the right thing to do because someone told them it was the right thing to do. I just don't buy it. It doesn't work with my logic. It doesn't work with the logic of those I worked with. It should not hold up in court. Just saying. What is this? Have you known a cop that moved to another province or country but really struggled getting used to the new laws? I know people who have moved. They get trained and retrained for the local jurisdiction. I'm sure they figured it out. Tian Luan, long time no see. Question: if a car making a U-turn during advanced left signal collides with a car turning right on red, which one is more at fault? The one making the U-turn is absolutely more at fault, although both could be charged because both are responsible for ensuring that the drive or the turn could be made in safety. The thing is that the person making the U-turn looks like they're making a left turn, and the person making the right turn has every reason to believe that they're making a safe right turn, and the other person collides with them. I would put much more fault on the person who was in the way doing what they were doing. Mark Henry says, great beard. Thank you very much. I've been working on it for a year, like literally since I retired, although I've trimmed it a couple of times. It's really been a work in progress for about a year. Churdy says, hi, Sean, I live in BC. Do you think applying for OPP is a smart choice by law enforcement currently? I have a friend who came to BC after living in Ontario, and but I think that working for the OPP would be a great move. Here's the deal: go and get hired wherever you can get hired. OPP's hiring, Toronto's hiring. Just apply, and don't. I wouldn't just apply at one place. I'd apply to a couple. Jake here says, with long waits at hospitals these days, do cops hang around for hours and hours accompanying crash victims to get their side of the crash for evidence? Yes, but they can also have special constables to go and take statements afterwards, and they don't have to wait. It depends on if it's a serious collision that could be fatal. Yeah, they have to wait. They have to process everything. If there's impairment, but if you're talking about someone who's seriously injured, they're a priority. They're going into a trauma center. They're not waiting around for a doctor. You're usually waiting to find out if they're going to live or die, quite frankly. If they're not conscious, we're not waiting for them to become conscious. We're going to, check back with them later. It all depends, but we're not just hanging around for days to get a statement. Yeah. Okay. If you got dad jokes, we'll talk about them at the end. Adam 007 says, sorry, my phone is acting funny. How funny is it? Oh, because he asked the question multiple times. That's why. Oh, yeah, listen, it happens. I got a ticket from Speed Camera, and 2 minutes later, the cop pulled me over to, what should I do? Well, in my opinion, you should pay one and fight the other, because if you paid the other one, you can say to the other, I already paid one and I'm taking responsibility. You shouldn't get double. I don't think double jeopardy is a thing in this application, but the one you want to pay, if it was me, is the one from the camera, because there's no points. If you got a speeding ticket from the officer, then you're going to get demerit points, and it actually affects your license. So if you could choose to pay one and not the other, the one from the camera will have a lesser impact on your license. Now, the cop side of me and the more official side of me would say you should probably get the deal officially with the ticket that's issued by the officer, because it's the more official of them, and you could very easily have the other one squashed saying that I've been dealt by the police officer. But at the end of the day, um, take it where you can take it. Like if you went to the first court and said I got pulled over 2 seconds later, here's my ticket. Whether you're fighting it or not, the other one might just go away or be put over until the result of the other. I don't know what the right answer is, but the deal is that you probably won't get convicted of both. But which one you should go through and how you should play it in court is a question for somebody else, sadly. Skylight Zero says, "What are your thoughts on raising speed limits on certain stretches of 400 series highways to 120 or 130 as a maximum?" Here's the deal: I care about following the law. So if they change the law and say you can go 130, then I really don't have a problem with it. If it's being determined that it's safe to do so, I'm not an engineer. I can't make that determination. I can tell you that faster means more severe collisions and higher chances of collision in most cases, but I can't tell you whether it's truly a scientifically supported good or bad idea. The only thing that I can say is if it's lawful, I'm supportive of it, and if it's not lawful, I'm not supportive of it. And that's a very black and white answer for me, but that's really the space that I'm in. If they change the laws, it's beyond my control. They made it 10 kilometers faster on some stretches. Like that 10 kilometers makes a difference. What happens is people just go even faster. My concern would be if you make it 120 or 130 as a maximum, will people go 150 because they're still going to do 20 over? I think they will. So I think generally speaking, raising speed limits isn't a good idea, but that's a personal thing, not a scientific or proven thing. It's my hunch. It's about spider senses making an allegation. I like somebody said to Adam, pay the ticket and abide by the law. Okay, here. Gamer Dad says, is it illegal / allowed to sit further back on a left-hand turn lane to activate the advanced green? I don't think it's illegal. I think you could be charged potentially with stop wrong place, but if you're not impacting traffic, it's really not a big deal. I don't know of a charge that I would lay to do that. Just saying. Could you command the horse to back kick the bad guys? That's from Sherna Castle. I don't know anything about riding a horse. Would they kick? Yeah. Are there times when I'm sure that's utilized? I don't know if that's a command, like kick the people. I don't know. They usually walk sideways and just push them out of the way. I don't know if there's a strike button, and if there is, I'm not sure how it works. But I mean, they're very effective in crowd control. My friend had 120R to 80, went to court, and they brought it back up to 120. Yes, 120. Oh, so their friend, dollar sign there, had their friend got a ticket with a 120 km/h ticket reduced to 80 over, or 80 kilometers an hour, and they brought it back. Yes. So if you go and challenge a reduced ticket, they certainly have the ability of bringing it back up. Is it illegal to drive with your interior lights on? That is one of the most famous questions. It was like one of my first viral videos. And the answer is not in Ontario. It's not against the law here. It is something that I grew up thinking was against the law, but it's not something that is against the law. It does impact your negatively impact your night vision. So it's not a good idea, but it's not illegal. Thoughts on speed cameras? I think they should be on every single road. Nobody should be able to speed. I think that having a 5 or 10 kilometer an hour, threshold for the oopsie doo, you were downhill, you made a mistake. I think that that's reasonable. But if you're doing more than 10 over on a speed on a road, I think you should get hammered, and I think it should be against your driver's license, not just on your license plate. That's my personal take on it. Max Taxi says, Maxi Taxi. I heard that in more remote areas, police does not care as much. Is that true? Example, speeding. I can't speak for what other police officers do or don't do. I don't know. I mean, maybe here's the thing: if you have one cop in the area, can they focus on speeding? If you have one cop in the area and they've got to break up bar fights, do they also want to be the person who just hammered you for 20 over? It depends on how rural we're talking about and how tightly knit the community is and how, what the priorities are. If you are low on police officers, the priority has to be taking care of problems and determining which ones are causing issues. If they're having a problem where people are crashing and dying, then they have to put a higher priority on the driving. If they're not having a high fatality issue and speeding would just be a nice thing to control, but they have a big problem with drugs and theft. They got to focus on what's bleeding. They got to focus on the priorities, and that depends on the community. But in general, we have a major problem with traffic safety. There are far too many people dying, especially in major areas, in urban areas, and we need to do things to change driver behavior because bad things are happening. And if we don't do anything about it, it's just going to get worse, not better. We've seen a tremendous decline in the quality of driving since the vid. Can transport trucks drive in the fast lane of the red hill that's only 2 lanes? The red hill. I'm not familiar with the red hill, but the deal is that they shouldn't be in the left lane. Period. Do you have any friends with DUIs? I know people who have been charged and convicted and ruined their lives with DUIs. Are they my friends? No, I generally don't associate with people who have alcohol problems. I've met people who have alcohol problems. I don't drink, so I don't hang out with those who do. Not to say that listen, it was bourbon and sandalwood. Boondocks Beard Co. jumped in on the from Instagram and jumped over to TikTok and answered. Was I right? I think I did say bourbon and sandalwood in the end. I've driven a dump truck loaded with 127. Sorry, I've driven a dump truck loaded to 127,550 pounds with a G license. But you're a mechanic, aren't you allowed to drive anything? Sarah was Sarah Sarah Hawa. Oh, Sarah Hawa, the queen. I had the same problem reading your name last time. Says, "Hey Sean, how you doing? I'm doing well, thanks." Jake here says, "I think having your interior light might have you get more attention." Absolutely, and if you can't see because they're on, that's a bad thing too. 1 hour and 11 minutes. Let's see if we can wrap this up in 20 because I'd love to stop at 1 hour 30 minutes instead of the 2 hours I've been doing whenever I go live at night, which is wonderful. I love hanging out with you, but I got some other work to do before I go to bed. And then I'm going back live again at 10 a.m. Eastern time to do this again because that's what I do. Although I think I might change it. I'm like, you know what? Maybe tomorrow I'll go live at 9 a.m. Just saying. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go live earlier. Yeah, I think it's a plan. I'm going to do it. It's going to happen. That's it. Claymax says, "Do you need a Class 5 vehicle license if you live on a reservation land?" I don't know anything about reservation land law. And Class 5 is not an Ontario license, so I really couldn't speak to it. I am not familiar. Okay. Oh, scrolling back. Probably just one off thing. Police did care. Just okay. Boom, boom, boom. What is this? Driver had a medical condition. Are we talking about a collision that's occurring right now? What's up? Heard happened not far. Oh, Tracy had the collision happen not far. Somebody else says driver had a medical condition. Medical emergencies that take in like people dying behind the wheel happens a lot. Sarah says, "Thanks for your time and stay safe always." Thank you so much. Jade Trong says, "I want to be a police officer when I grow up, but I don't think my parents want me to. What should I do?" I don't think any parent says, "I want you to go put your life at risk every day helping the public." But you know what? My parents didn't love the idea. They supported me because they knew it was a calling. It's something I had to do. Maybe start out as an auxiliary, start out as a volunteer, show them that you can go out there and get involved in the community and that you come home every day and safe. And it's always a risk, but so is taking the bus or crossing the street. You know what? If you're trained to go out there and be safe and help others, it's a wonderful, wonderful career. Oh, thank God nobody's got hurt. Okay, so updates are that collision was not uh, an injury involved collision from the looks of it. Matt wants to know if it's illegal to pass on a double yellow line in Ontario, so just frowned upon. It's not a law for crossing the line, although it's a really good indication that you shouldn't be doing it. But when you cross that line, if you cause a collision, it's going to be on your head. Okay. Dollar sign says, "How's retirement been for you, Sean?" It's been good. It's been a very different life for a year. And I miss the job every day. Absolutely. And the people every day. But I get to contribute in the ways that I've done. I've started a not for profit called Better Traffic Safety and Education, bettertraffic.ca. And we're doing good things. You know, tiny steps towards making roads safer every day. Someone Shadow A750 says, "Can you?" He says you can register a tractor or cab as an RV in Ontario, but there are limitations. Okay, that's an interesting update from what we were talking about on the other app. What is this? Decepticons forever. Are you going soon? DM me. Okay. Cool, cool. Rib Fest, Rib Fest. I'm on a no sugar, no carbs. I'm down like 43 pounds from where I was 150 days ago, maybe 160 days ago. So I'm not Rib Fest sounds like sugar. So no, I don't do sugar. Dry rubs, I can do dry rubs. Grant says, "Did you retire, buddy?" I did. Or I left the service almost a year ago. Okay. I know the fine for stopping in bike lanes, but what's the charge fine for a car driving in a bike lane? I'd have to look that up. And let me see if I can access that easily. Because if I can do it with little to no touching of the keyboards, bike lane. Because I don't know if it's going to be a no. It's under cycle. I've laid the charge, and it's there's two. There's HTA, and then there's also the charge under bylaw. So if you get it from a police officer, you get the fun one where you get demerit points. And if you get the one from a parking enforcement officer for parking or stopping, you get one that's just a parking offense and then it's less against your license. But I happen to like the one that impacts you in a serious way. Decepticons Forever says, "Oh, you're on a diet, eh?" Not a diet. I've changed my habits. I no longer want any of that food. I didn't feel well when I ate bread. I felt like, bleh. I stopped eating it. I felt a lot better. It's amazing. Maybe we don't eat all the food we're eating. And I probably eat more now than I did before, but I'm losing weight. he says we could try the dry rubs. We could do dry rubs. Okay. Um, let's see here. Breen says, I know the fine. Oh no, that's the one we just talked about. I don't have the answer. If you DM me, I'll follow up with you. Let's see here. Jonathan says, okay, same question about my parents not wanting to do it. Boondocks Beard Company says, I'm glad you like it, brother. Much appreciated. They're glad I like the bourbon and sandalwood beard oil. It's quite good. Okay. Cuth says, I couldn't try and pronounce your whole name there, but currently suspended, but my license is expiring soon. When I'm suspended, can I renew while suspended? You probably, I don't know for certain, but here's the thing I do know. If you're suspended and it expires, you can get reinstated and renew all in that time. If it's within 3 years, I don't think there's anything you need to do other than pay. I think. Are you American or Canadian? I'm Canadian. And Tracy answered for me. Thank you. Riley says, under what code? Riley, I don't know what you're talking about because it was way too far behind for me to get context of your question. Boondocks Beard Co. says, I was driving behind someone doing 50 and an 80. Can you be charged for driving too slow? Absolutely. 50 and an 80 if you're in the left lane, yes. 50 and an 80 in the right lane, probably not. There's no, unless it's a posted minimum. In Quebec, there's a posted minimum. And then absolutely you could articulate. But let's say they were driving a Model T that can't go faster. That's not unreasonable for them to go there. Just make sure they're on the right side. Scrolling. If you get pulled over by an unmarked cruiser, can you ask for a marked one? Good question. If the marked one versus unmarked is irrelevant. Can they verify that they're a police officer? Do they have a police uniform on? Do they have police identification? Do they have the badge? Can you call 911 or the non-emergency line to verify who they are? Because you could do that if you're really concerned that they weren't real. Yes, there's concerns that sometimes there are people who are fakers. Very rare. The biggest thing is, what's going on, and they could have dispatch call you. You could call dispatch. Like there's tons of ways to verify, but 999 out of 1,000, you're not dealing with a faker. I've never been a faker. I pulled people over, and no one's ever said to me, "Hey, are you real?" I think your spidey senses would be going overtime if you thought they were fake. Beyond that of the car they're in. And how would you know? Unmarked or like the vehicle has lights on. You're looking at their headlights. You wouldn't know if it's marked or unmarked. You just see police lights, I would assume. Trent? Yeah, Trent 1 says, I drive without a license. That's good for you. I hope you get caught. I hope you get charged. And Cut says, oh no. Oh, okay. Percy says, hello, is 110 kilometers per hour already in place on all 400? No, in some stretches, not all of them. So it's 110 in the areas that are signed as such. Other ones are still 100. Chris in Pratis says, I was pushed out of the way in the left-hand turning lane on a red. Is that legal? Pushed out of the way by whom? I need to know more. Were you pushed out of the way with a dump truck? Were you pushed out? Like, what do you mean? That's a lot. That's a lot. I need to know more. User says a semi cut me off without looking, and then I went around a semi cut you off, and then you went around and brake checked them. Isn't that fair? No, because you could have killed a whole bunch of people. That's a dumbass move. Don't do that. Not only is it illegal for them, no, cutting them off is stupid. Brake checking is stunt driving. You should lose your license for 30 days, vehicle for 14, have a $2,000 to $10,000 fine, have up to 6 months in jail, have a 1 to 3 year driving prohibition, all based on brake checking somebody. So no, it's not fair. And God, what you could have killed a bunch of people. Dumb. Don't. I mean, you're probably joking or making it up, but if you really did that, give your head a shake. Vars 19 says, if I made a complete stop at a stop sign, can I get a fine for not looking both ways before going through? If you went through and then nearly caused a collision because of your movements, you can get a fine for start from stop not in safety, maybe. Fail to yield, for the person who has the right of way, depending. Just not moving your head. Maybe you moved your eyes. Erica says, new driving instructor. I'm eager to teach people to drive properly. Erica, I can't express how excited I am to have a new person on the scene to help educate people. And if you want to use videos from my channel to do it, by all means, send people here. Yeah. And maybe we get you on the show talking about your experiences as a new driving instructor. I'd love to talk about that. DM me. That would be a great conversation to have on the show. Maybe we'll have you on a live stream. We got Melody the mechanic who can jump in about mechanic stuff. We got Erica who can jump in and talk about drivings. I want to know your scariest moment with someone who just got their license. That must be terrifying. I can't imagine, but I want to know more. This sounds exciting. Let's see here. Kristen Prada says, I was pushed out of the way by an ambulance in a left turn while it was red. They literally made contact with your vehicle and pushed you? No, because you don't have they didn't have, no, that's not legal. It's poor planning, but no, I want to know more. Where are you? Are you in Ontario, Canada? If you're in the States, maybe they have different rules, but there's no way that an ambulance can lawfully make contact with your vehicle and push you. That's not lawful. Okay. The thing is that you have a YouTube channel. Christian. The thing is that I do have a YouTube channel. It's called Voiceover Cop. You can get this on. This is being simulcast there right now. Not sure what you're talking about. Okay. Cool. Okay. Can you comment on why the police seem and they stopped? I don't know what else I don't know what you're talking about. This is Maddox who is making the statement for which there's not enough information to actually give you an answer. Epic Life Enthusiast says, if you have a medical injury that is life-threatening or your wife is giving birth, you are driving to the hospital going 15 to 20 kilometers over the speed limit. Is that a valid reason for speeding, knowing it is wrong to do so? Would I do it? Possibly, maybe. Is it a valid excuse? No, it's not. If you cause a collision by doing it and prevent your friend who's bleeding or your wife who's ready to pop the kid, all I got to say is plan, and call an ambulance. They have lights and sirens, and they can stabilize patients and give birth on the road. And police officers have given birth, or not given birth, but assisted in the giving of birth, like or the receiving of the baby, catching it on the side of the road. But racing to a hospital without the wonderful, EMS operative in the back who is stabilizing, medicating, taking direction from a doctor who's on scene or remotely at the hospital. Like an ambulance isn't a taxi. They do stuff to make sure you get there safely, all while transporting you, probably quicker, with the assistance of lights and sirens and often police. Yeah, no, it's never an excuse to speed. But, if I was concerned that the person wasn't going to make it, because the option is this. The right answer is you stabilize, first aid, and you call ambulance. But let's say there is no ambulance because you're in a rural area and it's forever to get someone. then you do your best to do it safely. And that may not be speeding, it may just be going. And I would probably be doing that while on speakerphone with 911, getting direction to say, where am I going to rendezvous with an ambulance? That's what I would do. What is the question? What is G in the G1, G2, G? I think it's general. I don't know. I don't know what G stands for. I've never asked that question, but thank you, Nicholas Rizzi, for asking me questions I don't know the answers to. But it's the simplest one. Does anyone know what a G is? Like, what is B? B is bus, isn't it? D is dump truck. I don't know. I've never cared about like, how about E5 QRS? Like the ones from other provinces just really boggle me. Mind you, I think we're the only province that does the G and the M, but M is for motorcycle. G must be for general, as opposed to Google. Oh, Hunter Vernon has a question. We'll jump back. Other people are answering in the comments, but see that you got it. If you get a ticket in Toronto from a speed camera that you were going 50 in a 30 zone and there's no speed sign posted, which rule do we follow? The Toronto bylaw, which is 40, or the HTA that says 50? Well, if there's a sign posted, whether you saw it or not, if the sign's not posted, then you can go and fight the ticket because you have no sign posted. If the sign is posted, then you don't have a leg to stand on, because the 50 is if it's not posted. So truly, how do you have a 30 zone if it's not posted 30? Like, I don't know. Apparently I missed that earlier question. Was there another earlier question that I missed, or was that the question that I missed? In any case, 4 minutes. I'm going to try and wrap in 4 minutes. Graham says, my truck is black. My vinyl cover is pink. Does my ownership need to be changed to pink? Yes, $110 fine. That's actually how Boondog Beard Co. And I had a conversation that prompted a discussion that resulted in us becoming besties. But yeah, that you have to change it. You have 6 days to change it. If you get pulled over with a pink truck and it says black on the ownership, you're going to get investigated. Then you're going to get charged for failing to apply for an updated ownership. Absolutely. What is this? Cool. The whole dump truck thing was Melody with mechanic's license and farming stuff, all sorts of allowances for special rural things. Alexa says, I know a normal red light you can, however, I'm taking them out. What is this? I don't know what I'm not picking up what you're putting down there. Selena says, what if I'm leaving? What is this? What if I'm leaving a festival and I'm in a bumper to bumper traffic and I'm on my phone, line no move? Are you asking if you can be on the phone because the traffic's not moving? No, you cannot be on your phone if your vehicle is not legally parked, and legally parked does not mean not moving while in traffic. So no. Scrolling through, trying to catch up. Logan's Run 2025 says, you remember all the laws? Hell no. I remember a lot of the laws, and some of them I've forgotten because I haven't talked about them in so long and I have to refresh my memory. But it is not a case of me remembering all of them. I just talk about them a lot, and I'm very familiar with many of them. And those that I don't know, I look up and I understand because I'm familiar with the way the laws are written, and I've probably discussed or testified about them in the past. Okay. We talked about, what did we talk about here? I've got a manual and shift all the way down to first at a 4-way stop in country with no one that is, what? What's wrong with shifting down to first? Don't you downshift before you stop? Like that's what I do. Charles says, roll and stop and start manual. Roll and stop? Oh no, you got to stop. You have to have a cessation. You cannot have any forward. Listen, if no one's there to catch you, you're not going to get caught, but it's wrong. It's not the right way to do it. Stop signs mean stop. What is this? What is someone who's complaining? This guy's always talk cops are perfect, never blame them. That's Arun Shan. Arun Shan. No, there's times cops screw up. I've never said cops are perfect. I'm on the cop side. Cops are in the realm of doing the right thing. Do they sometimes err? Yeah. Sometimes they make it wrong. I earlier mentioned about charges that someone may or may not have received, and I said they would not hold up in court because they're incorrect. So I do not always say the cops are right. but I do say that their heart's in the right place and they're working towards helping people. So, Arun Shan, you're wrong. Okay. Complete stop there. We're there. Hector followed. Thank you. And Hani followed. Thank you. And Tracy says, you'll be on the air for another half an hour. No, I want to stop in 30 seconds. 164 and 100 zone. Is that a stunt charge? Yes. Because 50 over, actually anything over 150 is stunt, regardless of where you are. 50 over in a speed zone 80 and above is stunt. And 40 over in a speed zone under 80 is stunt. So, yes, Hunter and Verdon said it correctly. Absolutely, it's stunt driving. Oh, gosh, you're right. Tracy, you're right. There's so many questions. Oh, all right. I'm never going to get out of here. All right, let me see here. No, there's a lot of dialogue. I'm an Uber driver. Can I touch my phone just to accept the ride while driving for only 1 second? Technically, no. If it's mounted, you can only answer calls and hang up on calls. But if you're touching and reading and involved in the usage of your phone, you're using it, and that's against law. If you're legally parked while you're doing it, it's perfectly legitimate. Legally parked. How often do you actually run insurance on a traffic stop? I would do it every time, and then I would record that information and follow up with the company the day of. If I was suspicious of anything, I pulled over a guy who was driving a vehicle, and he I don't know what triggered me to look into it further, but he basically had just put this sports car on the road, and it was just spring, like just. And I called it in. He had storage, or we had liability and theft. That's it. That fire and theft. He had fire and theft on it. It was stored for the summer. He said, I called to put the insurance on. Bullshit. He never called, and it was not insured, and he got convicted in court for drive no insurance because it wasn't driving insurance. It was fire and theft. So yeah, I would check it. And after, if I didn't have time to check, or if it was the middle of the night and I bought the story, but I was still, I called the companies the next day. You have up to 3 years to lay that charge. 3 years to lay that charge. And I laid the charge quite a number of times after the fact. All right. Can I drive my parents' car without me having insurance, but they have insurance? If the vehicle is insured and you don't live with them, then most insurance companies would say you can borrow the car and borrow the insurance, as long as you're a qualified driver, qualified to drive that class of vehicle. If you live with them, most insurance companies say you have to be listed as an occasional driver. That's just what it is. So you can borrow your neighbor's car, but not your parents' car if you live there. That's generally how it works. But just get yourself added on the insurance and develop a relationship with the insurance company, because you develop a driving history. And when you get your own vehicle, you have lower insurance. That's also the thing. A bus stops facing north-south. Does east-west traffic have to stop? No, you can't pass the vehicle in either direction if it's a school bus with flashing lights, if that's what we're talking about. What is this? How do you actually run insurance on a traffic stop? Well, we can check with the ministry to see if it's confirmed or unconfirmed status, which means it was valid within 15 days. It doesn't mean it's valid when you're driving it, but I think it's about 15 days loop. You call the insurance company. If they're there, they'll tell you, yeah, it's currently in effect. No, it's not currently in effect. And if I have the time, I'll do it. And if not, I'll do it later. But I'll always do it. At least I did. I have always been curious if police run your plates when they are driving in front or behind you. Yes, I did. And now with the automated license plate readers, they're doing it all the time. Okay. Can you make a right turn through a crosswalk? Can you make a right turn through a crosswalk light when it's red and there's no pedestrians in it? So you're making a right turn on a red and there's a crosswalk there. There's no pedestrians in it. Yes, you can. V says we can do Lyft also. What? I don't know what we're talking about. Okay. Mostly behind though. When manual runs, obviously it's going to be behind, unless you're really shady and you're catching all sorts of heat. A taxi driver can buy alcohol and drive directly home with my taxi roof sign and what? I don't know anything about taxi rules like that. Some of the questions I've heard on your lives truly scare me. That there are drivers asking that. That's from Tessa Wolf Girl. Yes, Tessa Wolf Girl. Some of these questions are scary. Paulo de Salvo says, me and my wife share custody. Can they drive my car without being on insurance? Who do they reside with? I would say that if they reside with one but visit the other, then you could probably at the end of the day just add them to the insurance. If you have kids, just make sure you cover them. You want your kids to be protected. And you want them to develop a good relationship so that they get good rates when they're time to buy their own vehicle. You see in once, what is this? Jake here says, you see in once in a while cops helping in birth. Do all police train for this? No. A friend of mine was a paramedic before he became a police officer. He has been involved in delivering several or several, a couple, I don't know how many. Several suggests like a lot, like 2 or 3, I don't know. A few, is that what it is? Cool. Cobby says, I drive safe, but and they cut it off. I don't know what else they said. All right. Talk to another insurance company regarding my vehicles. I was able to save $800 on my motorcycle insurance and $900 on my car. I'm getting 20% off my home insurance. What insurance company did you go to? Everybody wants to know where you're getting this great deal. I want to lower insurance. I've been with the same insurance company for years, and I think it's time for a change. Maybe I should change. In fact, I was talking to somebody who wanted to sponsor the show, and he was going to give me an insurance quote, and then he disappeared. Yeah, I wanted to pay him. I don't know what happened to him. Disappeared. Is there a police? Is police only for traffic, or they do it all? Police are police. Some specialize in traffic. So police officers are police officers, period. Can we drive 120 on the 401? You probably can. Are you legally allowed to? No. Steven says, thanks for answering all my questions, and I like the job first responders do. Can't thank them enough. Well, thanks very much. Appreciate it. All right. Epic Life Enthusiast went to TD Insurance. That's where he's getting the great. I've not heard great things from about them, but I don't know whether they're good. CC Brando 1234 says, Sean, it's been a while. How you doing? Life has been busy. Haven't got to tune in for a while. I haven't seen you for a while. Good to see you, buddy. You caught me just in time for me to say goodnight. It is time for me to go. But I will end with a dad joke that was sent in by Bernhard, since nobody else sent any dad jokes. And also answer the question from S. And S says, can Toronto police pull you over on the 401? Any police officer in the province of Ontario has the authority to make a vehicle stop. If you see lights and sirens behind you, it's your obligation to stop, whether it's a police car from Toronto or Tottenham. If they are a police car, the rules say you pull over. Can they lay a charge? Now, there are jurisdictional boundaries when it comes to laying a charge. 401 ain't one of them. They can certainly lay a charge there. The goal or the rules generally have to do with prioritizing court process and things like that. So if a Toronto cop was in York, they can lay a charge directly. If the Toronto cop was in Barrie, they'd want a York or a Barrie cop to lay the charge, and they would be the person giving evidence on the other officer's ticket. But they could still stop you if they were there, because they are police officers and have the authority of a police officer throughout the province of Ontario. That is all. Nick Grennan wants to know if undercover cops can stop you. Yes, they can. But if they're truly undercover, they ain't stopping you because they're undercover and they don't want to blow their cover for a traffic ticket. If you mean a plainclothes or a detective car, which is simply unmarked, that's a different story. I said I wasn't going to answer any more questions and go to dad jokes. So let's go to dad jokes. I've not read this. Hear about the thief who stole a lamp. He got a light sentence. That's all right. I like that. It's not bad. Brando says, thanks, Sean. Take care and have a great night from Jake here. It was a great night. I had a lot of fun. An hour and 38 minutes, not 2 hours, but not the hour and a half that I was aiming for. So close, but no cigar. Listen, I'm going to go, but I'll be back tomorrow. I think I'm going to try and do the live stream at 9 a.m. so I can hit the road early. I got some stuff and things to do. Listen, have a great day. Drive safe, drive sober, park legally, and smile. Have a great life. Like have some fun, but just do it safely. That's all. Take care. Bye from Tracy.